Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome. It's good to see everyone. I hope I see Kiki said hi. Kiki, how you doing today? I hope that it's going well for you. We definitely have some beautiful energy in the air this week. I guess we have a mixture, but there's a lot of things going on all at once, right? It's always like that with astrology. Probably depends a lot on what's going on in your own chart. So if you have any questions or you want us to look at your astrology chart, please just speak up, ask the question. We're here for you. Hi, Chelsea. Good to see you. Oh, it's great to see you, Chelsea. And we have a lot of astrology going on right now. The energies are definitely, well, I said I think it's Rick Levine who always says with all this Aries energy, there's a lot on fire. And with me with the stellium and Libra, I feel pretty out of wackadoodle for sure. So if you have a lot of Libra stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if you were feeling a little off this year. It's definitely felt awkward to me. all year. So hi, Fleary Castellanos, I think it is. It's nice to meet you. Hello. So if you're looking for a reading, you just need to give us your birth time, date, location. If I already have your chart, please just tell me that and I'll look for it in my, if I've done a reading for you before, even if it was free, I probably saved it. Um, Hi, the Tatted Sky and James. How are you? It's good to meet all of you. I'm glad you're here. Hi, Annie. Great to see you. Yeah, so it's been a lot of intense energy, right? There's a lot going on around, you know, our energies of depending on where Aries is in your chart, but there's definitely a lot of change and transformation happening, lots of things falling apart so we can rebuild them. Hi, Samantha. I'm glad you read my little post there, Samantha. It sounds like you read my post. Thanks. Yes, I followed my intuition for sure. Um, hey, that in itself is an accomplishment. I will say that one of the number one things I end up doing in coaching is coaching people to listen to their own intuition. It's a funny thing that we don't do it. I'm not really sure why, except I think it probably happens in childhood. Most of us experience it. Most of us dismiss our own intuition. How many times have you dismissed something and then later you're like, oh my God, right? I can't tell you how many times that's happened. Hi, Corey's baby. Oh, it's Shawnee. Hi, Shawnee. Um, and so it's always listen to your own intuition. Always pay attention to that. Um, oh, it looks like there's a chart there. Bright Hawk, you want to bring that up? Okay. Um, yeah. So um, i- there's a lot going on. These transits, Samantha said that these transits have been having me find my true self again. Samantha, don't you have a bunch of stuff in Pisces? So it's the end of the North Node transit. They're going to be moving out here in just a couple of months. I'm sure I remember talking to you about that. Don't you have some Pisces placements or something? I seem to remember that Pisces North Node with you for some reason. And so one of the things that happens is as the nodes are about to leave the sign, some things will kind of get wrapped up, whatever it was doing for you in there. And the North Node has a lot about seeing your true self. It's a lot about following who you are and understanding who you are and coming to terms with who you are. That's pretty much what the North Node is. It's a realization of who you are. Um, oh, you have Saturn in Pisces, so that makes sense, Samantha. Saturn's a very strong planet. It's about our foundation. It's about our boundaries. It's about sort of our like what we're made of. So that totally makes sense. And if you have Scorpio, that's also Taurus. So Uranus is has just left maybe a month ago out of Taurus and it moved into Gemini. And so that was opposite of your Scorpio placement, Samantha. So I'm sure you felt that. And then of course, now we have Chiron moving into Taurus. We'll be having that. I think that's this week, um, or this next coming week. Sorry. Um, and so that'll be having um exactly going to okay. So core Shawnee said, hey, I have a question. In your broadcast yesterday, you talked about your moon sign. I'm a Leo Cancer. And in our astrology reading yesterday and our personal reading, we talked about this. How is this? Um about your moon sign. Well, you're a Cancer moon, right? Um So Jupiter, it could actually make you feel really good this week. Shawnee, it could probably affect you. It could probably bring some blessings or could probably make you shift your perspective of how you're taking care of yourself. Maybe see yourself a little differently. Remember, I told you that how you see yourself is going to change. So, and how you take care of yourself, how you feel about yourself, things like that are going to change. So, it'd probably be along those themes, I would imagine, because it's your moon, you know? So, okay. I know from my reading yesterday, the personal reading I got, a lot going on in my chart right now. Yeah, there's a lot going on in your chart. That's right. That's right. Exactly, Shawnee. Bright Hawk. Shawnee says she misses you and your beautiful music. Bright Hawk's muted right now because she's doing her thing. I don't just mean this week, I mean in general as a whole. How does my moon sign affect me? So, you know, the moon sign is an interesting thing. It's always your emotions. Okay, think about the moon is your cycle, right? So for a person, um, especially a person that bleeds or has bled in the past, you were in the moon cycle. That's why a lot of people call it your moon cycle. I don't know if you've ever heard that term for your period. And then also on top of that, and just because you stop bleeding doesn't mean that it's over, just saying. You're still in a cycle. And then, you know, the moon has a lot to do with your emotions, your mother or mother type people in your life, mothering, how you take care of yourself. And so one of the best things about the moon sign is that if you pay attention to your moon sign, you are have a better idea of how to take care of yourself. And a lot of people that grew up in trauma or in dysfunctional homes, they have no idea how to take care of themselves. They just don't know. And if you ask them, they'll literally be like, I have no idea. They don't even know what they like. They don't even know what feels good. And one of the things you can do is look at a list of things for your moon sign, and whatever those things are, do those things, and they'll help you feel better. They'll help you feel more connected. They'll help you feel more grounded. They'll help you feel taken care of. It's a great way to like feed your soul, help you feel seen, loved, valued, validated. That's the moon. So I think Corey, Shawnee, you have a Cancer moon. So this is learning, um, deep, understanding your deep emotions, understanding that you're affected by the moon cycle every 2 days. So every 2 days, the moon is moving out of a sign and into another sign, and the moon is your rules your moon. So you're very connected to the moon. So moon cycles, I would also suggest like moon magic. I would suggest focusing in on moon type, the cycles of the moon, knowing what the full moon is, what sign it's in. I would suggest studying all of that, Shawnee, because it could be really good for you, especially if you do like full moon ceremonies, or you're going to want like moonstones and moon water. Everything that has to do with the moon is would be my suggestion for a Cancer moon. Learn all about the moon, and just remember that you cycle with the moon. Yeah, she was talking about it in the broadcast. I kind of remember. Yeah. I forget exactly what she said, but I know everything I just said. She would agree with all of that. Bright Hawk, do you remember what you said about the moon in the broadcast?
I say a lot of things about the moon. Okay, let me look at
I
the
know.
question. What's is it the last question?
It's actually from Shawnee, and she's actually kind
Oh,
of just
I'm
said
going to start focusing on the moon. I've
she
got
has
some
a
books
Cancer moon.
and oh yeah. Well, absolutely. If you have a Cancer moon, man, you really want to know how the moon is cycling, when the moon is void, what the aspects are, because if moon is your ruler, and let's face it, we're all affected by the moon. And people who bleed, people who are female, are extremely aware of the moon. I used to be very aware when I was cycling on a full moon. Oh my God, it was so intense. And I would be relieved when I would switch to the new moon or, whatever. We're very aware of the moon moving around the earth and how it affects the water and the tides of the earth. Well, guess what? We have those tides in us as well. So understanding that is really vital. It'll help you feel way less crazy. I think people who have strong Cancer placements like Cancer rising or a Cancer moon probably have struggled with, am I moody? Am I crazy? Am I always switching, changing my opinion or my stance or my mood? And it's because you cycle with the moon. And so if you know that, you know how to surf it, you know how to ride it, you know how to use it to your benefit instead of feeling like you're constantly being taken for a ride. Gets you back in the driver's seat. And I think that would be a good thing. That would definitely, it helps explain things in a lot of ways. So a lot of what we talked about in the astrology report last night about this week is that when we're looking at the inner planets, and if it's okay with you, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the person from South Africa,
Yeah, let's see it. Let's see
their chart, and we can it becomes more practical, right?
I don't know if you're able to share it or not.
So I hope so. I think
So if you click present or invite and then choose share screen,
right?
And then choose your astrology, then choose Astro Gold.
Mm-hmm.
It might be on the second tab at the top.
Mm-mm. Astro Gold is not in that select tab or share.
And it's open on your computer, right?
Right. So I feel like I'm seeing entirely too many things, but not. Let me just, okay. There. Now let me try it. Go back here. Go back here.
I see it on the top tab. On the top tab, it says Chrome tab, and then it says window. Choose window. When you click share screen,
it just says StreamYard. And then if I bring up can you see it?
No, we just see StreamYard.
No. I think I remember last time I had to turn it into a PDF or something.
Nah, you should stop. I'm gonna remove it. Oops. Okay. And you have to click present or invite at the bottom there, and then click share screen. And then on the top tabs, it says Chrome tab or something else, and then it might say window in the middle. There's 3 tabs. It says Chrome, window, entire screen.
I'm going to choose aware. I'm seeing it, and it does not have
Astro Gold.
Astro Gold as a choice, which is unfortunate. It has a lot of other things, but not that. So I'm not sure what to suggest there.
Let me just try. Window.
I know, but there is no Astro Gold.
Okay. Okay. I don't know why it won't let you do that. Okay.
Can I?
You can save it as an image and try to share the image.
All right, let me do that. Sheets. Save.
Okay. So, sorry for a little techno, whatever.
All right. So let me
Stephanie,
see. I've
you're also a
saved it
Cancer
now.
moon. Yeah, so this
Ah,
applies to you too, Stephanie. So Cancer moons you should have a moon journal.
yeah.
Absolutely, you should have a moon journal. And what you should do is you should have a moon journal, and you should pay attention each week. And when we do the broadcast, Bright Hawk will say, like, you know, void of course moon between this time and that time. And when she does that, write that down in your journal, and then come back around to it. And and then you should be able to start to see a rhythm. Also, make sure you note what sign it is in. You can even have like a whole week planner, and then just keep track of, oh, the moon's in Pisces, the moon's in Aries, and pay attention to how you feel on those days, because it will change how you feel. So if you ever felt like you were changing mood all the time, that's why.
Okay, so I wanted to check in with our friend from South Africa. One of I feel very fortunate that I've had a chance to travel to South Africa in the 90s, in the mid 90s, and it was such a life-changing experience. So I just put TS on your initials. I hope that's okay. Um, oh, did it turn it sideways? It sure did. Can I turn
Yeah,
it?
it does seem to have turned it sideways, doesn't it? Is
That
that what's
is
going on there?
so bizarre. Oh man, we're having challenges. All right, let me remove it. Let me twist it the other way. There's a lot to talk about. So I hope you are still
That's
with us.
the tatted sky. The tatted
Yeah,
sky. Are
I
you
just
still
put
with us?
TS. Yeah, please make sure you're still with us
The
because we're
tatted
about to.
sky. Are you still with us? Um, so the tatted skies, if you're still with us and you want your astrology chart read, I suggest you speak up. Otherwise, we won't bother. Or sometimes that happens. People drop out. Um, yep.
Oh, I would love to talk about their chart because it's a very interesting chart to me, and I would
Hey,
love
Cheryl.
to learn more about what your thoughts on it would be. So,
Hmm.
have we gotten confirmation?
No, still nothing. Well, tatted sky, we'll keep an eye out for you, and we'll just put it on hold for a minute. And okay, let's see what else we have here.
Okay, yeah, let us know because otherwise it takes me a couple of minutes to get it all put into the
It
software
does.
and figure it all
Yeah.
out. And now it's clearly taking me 2 more steps of saving it to a PDF so I can share it on the screen.
Yep.
Sorry for the delay. Happy to do these readings for you for free and happy to help you understand your chart more. Um, I love that we have a listener from South Africa. It's a very, very special place to me. And I would love to talk to you about your chart. So let us know if you're still here and we'll get into it. Otherwise, um, the moon this week, for since we're having that discussion, the moon right now, oh shoot, come on, let me get back to that screen, is
Hi, Bianca.
there we go. There we go. Tonight, the moon is in its last quarter phase. It's a waning moon. At the end of the week, we have a new moon. Right now, the moon is in Pisces. So, Hollis had a really interesting point they brought up last night in the broad podcast we did about the week, which is, everybody has the moon goes through the entire zodiac in a month. Every 2.5 days or so, the moon is changing signs. And so all of us experience the moon crossing over our moon. And if you start to become aware of it, you start to become aware of when that happens, what might be going on for you. Now, I don't know if you want to share again what you shared about your Libra moon and your becoming aware of what sort of that what happens to you.
Yeah, I just usually, so first of all, normally my moon, what I was also saying was my moon was in the 12th house when I was born. So you do need to pay attention to exactly where is your moon, like what house is it in, because it will definitely affect you. And being in the 12th house, anything that's in the 12th house, you probably don't have a good sense of it. I actually have 4 planets in the 12th house. So while I might seem super aware, I'm actually not. Sometimes I'm like, oh man, now I have to go like have a seat under a tree to figure out how I feel about that. Oh man, why do you think I spent so much time under a tree as a kid, right? Gosh, no wonder I was a hot mess. And so you just you so I just wanted to say that. And then being a Libra moon, what I started to notice is that like when the void of course moon comes through, if it's in Libra, it will change how that happens. It doesn't it doesn't normally make my feelings more aware or anything. Sometimes it makes me miss big things, or next thing I know, Bright Hawk put her hand on my shoulder or something and I'll cry. I'll be totally unaware of feeling anything. So being a Libra moon, if you happen to be a Libra moon, there's lots of us out there. The way that you'll be able to feed yourself is by connecting with others. So that's why if Bright Hawk hugs me or puts her hand on me, my suddenly the floodgates get opened up, right? And that's why, because I'll feel things when I connect. I will feel more because the moon connects. The moon is about feeling. Libra is about connection to others. It's about relationships. So I don't remember exactly what I said, but I know I kind of addressed those couple of things. And I know that the void of course moon sometimes will make me either clueless, depressed. Sometimes when the moon is in Pisces, which is opposite my sun, and it's void of course, I notice that I feel like a heavy blanket or something on me. And that's kind of annoying. So anyway, go
I
ahead.
would love to. I'd love to speak to Chelsea. This this really your question is a really good one, and I think it speaks to a lot of people right now. So I'm going to mention several things that may be going on that might be uh, obscuring what feels like. Is it this or is it that?
Well, I just want to
One of the
mention that Neptune is directly on her north node.
And that's what I was going to talk about, the luminaries, right? So when we talk about the luminaries, we're talking about the North Node, which we frequently refer to as our destiny, our future, a course. You know, we set course for the North Node sometimes. And the South Node, we talk about that being our past, and not just our recent past, but like our soul past, our past lives, our, things from the past. And so right now we have the nodes are each at the very end degrees, and we'll be switching signs in the next month or two. And I'll tell you exactly. I don't have this on the top of my head, but I have it on the chart. The North Node moves into Aquarius, and the South Node moves into Leo on July 27th. So some folks are definitely already feeling it. And another big configuration that's happening, and it's all week. Because we've been gone, I don't know how far back it goes, and I don't know how far forward it goes, but we have a T square with Uranus, and it's a T square with the nodes and Uranus. And so that can lead to do I want this? Do I want that? Well, that used to work, but that's not working anymore. I used to love that. Why don't I love that anymore? And there's just a real questioning about things. And that's part of what Uranus does for us, right? Uranus is the revolutionary. Uranus is like, boom, slaps you to the, whoa, what just happened? You know, Christopher Renstrom, a great astrologer, he always says Uranus is so revolutionary, it flips the game board. So you can't even recover. When Uranus comes in and flips over the game board, you can't even recover the game. There's no like, oops. It's like, whoa, we're starting over. Or something comes in that is so gobsmacking, like, what the heck just happened? You know, information comes in that you can't anticipate. Those of you who read Hollis's post and have been following us and understand what we've kind of been up to for the last several months, you know that we've been saying before we took our break, we had been saying, what is trying to be revealed? What is going to be revealed? It's that feeling of like, well, something's coming. We don't know what it is, but something's coming. And that revelation is happening now.
And I wanted to
So when
just
we
go
talk
ahead and
about the
go ahead.
So I just
Sorry.
want to say, when we talk about the really big things that impact us all, we're talking about the outer planets. We're talking about Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. And for the better part of the month, Pluto is trining Uranus. What does that mean? It means that their energy is coming together in a powerful way, and Uranus and Pluto, transformation, Pluto, Uranus, revolution. So we don't even know what the level of change is going to be, but we all have a sense of it, don't we? And you could talk about AI, you could talk about the changing nature of things. There's so many different ways you could talk about this, but the fact that you have these major this is the kind of change that happens that is the, it will never happen again in our lifetimes. My understanding from Rick Levine is that the last time Uranus trined Pluto was in 1921. And it was a huge moment of change. He talked about the beginning um, of understanding physics in a way, and the evolving of consciousness and human thinking completely changed from that time. I'm not going to try to paraphrase. He's an excellent astrologer. I highly recommend him. If you have a chance to listen to Rick Levine, you will never stop learning. He's a master astrologer. He's been doing it for over 50 years.
Of
He's an
course.
amazing interpreter of the stars. So feeling like things are unknown, that it's difficult to say what's going to happen next. You're right on track. You're right
Well,
on
and
track.
Chelsea's chart, let me just show you Chelsea's chart. This is Chelsea's chart. And here's the thing is you can see the North Node in Aries here, right? And you can see, so Neptune is just past it, and see how the 12th house begins at 4 degrees. I'm
Wow.
Neptune is right there. Oops, there's Shawnee's. And you can see, look, Neptune's at 4 degrees. So it's
Right
pretty
on top
much,
of it.
it's like the problem with this, Chelsea, is remember what I was saying about the 12th house? You have a lot going on in the 12th house right now, so you're not aware of it. Remember what I just said about the 12th house. So the 12th house is kind of an intense thing, and take some
And
time to
it's
sit in
literally like a
nature.
blind spot.
Yeah, you have to intentionally look for it. You have to take the time out to sit quietly. You have to go meditate. You have to do yoga. You have to, for you might need to exercise, do some cardio since it's Aries. For me, I have to connect to a person. For Bright Hawk, she has to go cut wood in the woods, Virgo, working with the land. So she has to work with the land to become aware of it. So everyone has their own way, right? Okay. And then on top of that, also, I also wanted to point out that you have Chiron here in Gemini, and Uranus is just making movement into Gemini. So you're just beginning some intense healing, especially around money and values. So, you know, Chiron is about to enter Taurus. It's going to be in the sign next to you. So you might have a hard time seeing exactly what needs to be healed. I mean, I could go deeper into reading, but that's just a quick down and dirty there for you, Chelsea. There's definitely more to talk about, but
Well,
you
I
have a couple
I
of things happening right now.
and I would just say that one of the things that I noticed is the Mars is on the ascendant, and so there's a feeling like you wanna do something, like, uh, believe me, I know this placement extremely well because I have Mars on my ascendant, and, Mars on your ascendant is wanting to take action, right? And you have Mars in Taurus, and so grounded action is gonna be really important, but the other thing that I'm seeing is that you have the Moon in Taurus in the 1st house, and when we you often hear us say, and we're not the only ones to say it, there's many who say, feed your moon. Actually, I learned it from Nadia Shah. Feed your moon. So if you have a Taurus moon, what does that mean? Moon loves to be in Taurus. And remember, Taurus is ruled by Venus. And it is the lover of lovely things. It likes to have beautiful meals and take good care and fine quality and Taurus is very practical. They like to take care of people. They're very good hosts. They, of course, are represented by the bull, and so they're very determined in ways that um, the shadow side of the bull is getting really stubborn and dug in, right? So, what would help you feed your moon that avoids that stubbornness, that avoids that feeling of digging in, and instead feeds that feeling of things are evolving, things are growing, just like you. We're all growing, we're all evolving, and what feels good to feed your moon because it is around your self identity because it's in the 1st house. So practical things that feed you your personal temple, if that means being more deliberate about your practice and not allowing yourself to get interrupted or pulled away from whatever and taking care of other people instead of taking care of yourself. Um, Things like that. That's what I saw when I looked at your chart. In addition to the North Node.
Right. I just want to answer Stephanie's question. It's a good practical question, Stephanie Fontanero. You can look just after Chelsea Weeks. So Stephanie, I'm going to take a look and see if that changes your rising sign. I think I have your chart. It looks like, yeah, I do. So you said that you thought you were born at 8:31, but it actually was more like 8 a.m. So I'm gonna just change it. I actually have 8:31 p.m. Is that 8 a.m. In Salem, Massachusetts, right? Um, it says 8 a.m., right? Yeah, it says a.m. for sure. Okay. You're Virgo rising, Stephanie. That's what it changes. Changes the house orientation. So it changed some things, Stephanie. Definitely. So a Virgo rising, Brighthawk can speak a little to that, but the one thing that I would say about about a rising sign, typically any rising sign, sometimes I notice the person's rising sign is like I'm a Virgo and Brighthawk is a Virgo rising, and she is way more Virgo than me. I don't know, and it probably
In some
has a
things.
little in a lot of things. And so I'm like, is this and she's not the only one. Both of my grandchildren have Virgo rising, and I'm always like, huh, it's really strange because what ends up happening is they have way more of the quirks of Virgo and way more of the differences of Virgo. And I'm like, wow, that's weird. And I don't know if it's just because my rising has Uranus on it. And so I'm just kind of a weirdo or whatever. But I'm just going to say that sometimes I notice that people's rising, they're more that rising, particularly as they get older. And Christopher Renstrom does also talk about that. So you might want to watch Virgo, Stephanie.
I was going to answer the question about how do you feed the Leo moon, because I have a Leo moon, and I think we've shared that conversation with you before. So when you think Leo, think the royal, regal Leo lion, right? Leos, you can even imagine the royal crest with the lion on it, right? So when you're feeding a Leo moon, what are the things that make you feel royal, that make you feel like, it's a fire sign. We like a certain amount of attention. We sort of expect a certain amount of attention. And um, in the idea of feeding the Leo moon, it would be like a lavish meal where you feel like, wow, you really think highly of me. Look at this. This spread is phenomenal. What makes you feel special? Leos don't realize that we have a way that, how to say this? Well, I'll just say the shadow of Leo, because I know well, can be that we come off as arrogant, know-it-alls, uh, standoffish. The word in the worst part of Leo would be, acting as if you're better than someone, or, being accused of being arrogant probably sums it up pretty well. The other side, to avoid that, right, would be to feel like you are valued, you are significant, you are seen and appreciated, right? All those things make a Leo feel like the world is in order.
So
We
hang
can
out with the people that
proceed.
give you that.
So that's so the Leo has a real opportunity to be a leader amongst friends and family without even knowing it, because that's just how we come. We come with a certain amount of shine. And what did you add? I'm a Leo, Cancer. I'm a nightmare. You're not a nightmare. Nonsense. Or should I say a handful? That's right. We're all a work in progress. Oh, hey, Mama Cole, we've missed you. Good to see you there. Gemini moon and rising suggestions. Oh, we were just talking about, was it Uranus is going into, let me look at the chart so I don't try to talk off the top of my head. We have Uranus in Gemini at 2 degrees. And the sun is currently in Gemini. Happy birthday, my dear. Yeah. Oh, okay. Do you want me to do Beth's chart, or you want to?
I didn't get down that far yet. I'm still up
Oh,
looking at Stephanie real quick. Stephanie, I was gonna say, we can look at your new chart. It will completely change the way things are. It will just change the way way I interpret them. So if you found some things were off, that might have been why. And so we can definitely go through it, and I'll look at it again. But we only have so much time in this broadcast. Thanks, Cheryl. We missed you, and thank you, Shawnee, for your feedback and your beautiful like review type things where Shawnee enjoyed her reading. So one of the things you should know is that if you didn't know, um, if you join Mystics Academy, you essentially get a free reading this month. So if you're not already a member, the people that were already a member, they got a free reading because I had to bail out a little bit. But now that I came back, I gave everybody a free reading that was a member. And if you join, you get a free membership. So how about that? What a great gift. So okay, so do you have Cheryl's chart or do you want me to?
no, you do.
I also have Beth's. Is that who you were talking
Oh,
about, Beth Wetstein?
let me go back. Yeah, do you have bets? Okay, yeah, because
I
they
believe
just
I
put theirs
do.
in. Well, since I was having a hard time bringing it up, you could go ahead and
Hmm.
um, do the
I'm pretty
screen
sure I
share.
did. Let me see. Uh, oh, no, Beth. Nope, not Beth Wetstein.
Okay, do you want me to do it?
Beth, do I have a different last name for you? I can put it in real quick so that way we can
Okay.
share it. I was just asking her if I have a different name. Sometimes people have like different last names than what they put on
So while
Faceboard.
you do that, I'll just say happy birth. I realized, Mama Cole, that you're not a Gemini, you're a Gemini moon. Um, Nevertheless, happy birthday to the Geminis out there. And of course, right now, the sun is in Gemini and Uranus is in Gemini on the 2nd degree. So it's going to be there for a long time. And I can't say that that will be terribly comfortable. Surprise a minute. But again, what we're talking about when we're talking about Uranus is it's really all of us experiencing Uranus and Gemini. And when we talk about Gemini, and again, if you were talking about how do I feed my Gemini moon, um, Gemini is, of course, an air sign, and they're great networkers, they're great talkers, they're great negotiators. Again, I would use that great party host. They have a sense of the collective and like to see, everybody doing well together. Gemini, of course, is represented by the twins, and it often means that whatever's going on in Gemini, you're going to do it twice. Always. Maybe more than once. Maybe multiple. Sometimes I've done things 2 and 3 and 4 times. Ah.
Let's not
But
do that.
what I notice is that the second time it's either you do it better, you're more efficient, you figured something out that you didn't have right, quote unquote, about the first time. For whatever reason, you the sooner we just kind of go, oh, Gemini, okay, I guess I got to do it again, and don't make a big deal about it. Just get on with it. I believe we make a little less suffering for ourselves. So,
Let's hope it works that way for my surgery because
yeah,
Uranus went
right.
into Gemini in my house of surgery, you guys, and
And
that's pretty much when I
if you
found
guys
out.
haven't heard, Hollis had open heart surgery a couple of years ago, which, as you can imagine, it is as intense as it sounds. So last month, I think we
Yeah,
found out. I
when
think it was just
Uranus went
last
into
month.
Gemini.
Right when Uranus went into Gemini, we found out, oh, by the way, that open heart surgery you had, yeah, they didn't get it. They didn't do it right. It
Now you
was
have to do it
incomplete,
again.
inconclusive. Uh, and the reason why you're struggling right now is because your heart is still obstructed and it's still working way too hard, and we really still have to correct it. What? Not anything anybody ever wants to hear, especially when it comes to something like that. Like, are you
No
kidding
one
me?
wants to do heart
The
surgery, you
hardest
guys.
thing you've ever had to do in that regard, and you have to do it again?
The weirdest thing is my neighbor also had it at the same time. She also had to have a second surgery
Oh, her
when you're
kidney thing.
when she also had to have a second surgery when Uranus went into Gemini.
And
We
thank
both
you for
pretty much
holding
got the
space again, Mama Cole. Love you.
yeah.
Oh man. Mama Cole would send me texts at just the right moment when I'd be in the hospital and I'd be sitting by myself, or I'd look and I'd be like, wow, thank you. I needed to hear that. Just
Yeah.
you never know the power we have in other people's lives of just sending a little love, just thinking of you, whatever it is. Those little reach outs are so powerful and so meaningful. So many, many
Yeah.
thanks.
Check this out,
So
Beth.
did you see
I wanted to let Beth know that
okay.
the North Node is practically on her North Node. I'm just gonna say like
Oh
that's pretty much
wow.
happening. Or sorry, the North Node is leaving Pisces. It's on her rising. Sorry. Beth, I'm wondering, you're headed in an interesting direction, because also what's about to happen is the South Node is about to come into Leo, so it could speak to some things in the past. Have you it could speak to like things that have happened in the past with your day-to-day life, old jobs, and even health situations or things like that that have from the past could come back up for some reason, especially because your sun and moon is in Leo there right here. And the South Node is going to move in there, like Bright Hawk was saying, in July. But it is finishing up its transit here for you in relationships. So I'm wondering about relationships right now. What's happening in relationships for you right now, Beth? Is
Mhm.
some things coming to a conclusion? Are you letting some things go? Have, like, emotionally you could be letting things go, and moving forward with who you are. Maybe you're more connected, more spiritual, more connected to your emotions. Maybe you're giving more room for those emotions. Also, I wouldn't be surprised, you've had Mars transiting your Saturn in the last couple of weeks. So that would also create a level of like, hey, these are my boundaries. And with Uranus having moved out of there in the last few years, you've probably really got solid about some of those, although you're a Pisces rising. So there'll always be soft boundaries. You also are finishing up your Chiron returns. So Chiron is leaving Aries and headed into your second house, second, third house. And so it's leaving Aries where your Chiron is. And
Mm.
natally, that's pretty intense. So you got a lot of going on at the same time. I also find it interesting that, the moon, I'm a Virgo, so I just want to say, up here in relationships, speaking to you right now, my sun is right about here on your south node and your vortex here, right about here. And so then that means that's about transformation and change in past life. So whatever messages I'm giving you now with the moon on your north node, it just so happens in this moment, in this here and now, the messages that you're hearing are important, necessary, and are going to help you with your destiny and help you more fully understand what you're coming into as you grow into the fullness of who you are. But also remember those boundaries, especially as Jupiter leaves Cancer, especially with kids, children, and romantic partners. Be sure that with any of those kinds of things that you allow your perspective to shift and such before Jupiter enters into Leo. Also, be careful to take care of your gut and your general gut health, and things that has to do with your stomach and your chest, including your, like, like breast exams and things of that nature. Okay. So, just wanted to give her a quick lowdown, Beth. That was a quickie. I can go into way more detail about things. When I have more detailed questions, I tend to answer very detailed, very detailed. So the more detailed your question is, the more detailed my answer is. And oh my gosh, thank you, Shawnee. um, I'm not sure what you said no to, Beth, but oh no, I don't have your chart probably. Um, okay. So then we're gonna look at Cheryl real quick. And when I do your hour-long chart, it's way longer. Shawnee can tell you about that. She's had a couple of astrology readings. You can come to me every couple of weeks and I'll tell you something new. I'll always tell you something new about your chart because you could spend hours looking at any given chart. You could learn a lot about a person by witnessing them through life, and their astrology, and you could know a lot, and help a person through a lot with astrology. Astrology is more of a counseling tool, a divination tool that you can use on a day to day basis. It is not a one time birth chart, and I tell you about your personality, and then that's the end of it. That's not really, I mean, that is a part of it, but that's not really what astrology is about. So the first thing I want to say, Cheryl, um, the South Node is still finishing up in the fourth house. So I think we talked about that before. The South Node there, that's about your parents probably, or people from the past in your house of parents. So I'm guessing it's your parents. um, it's going to move right onto Venus when it moves over in July. So in the next month, I would be watching for that. Yeah, and then I also want to say that your Chiron is in your 12th house, so you may not be noticing the wounds that you carry. So you might have to be more conscious about them, though that'll be transiting there for a while for you, especially also now with your North Node there in Taurus. You have Uranus is left there. Mars is going through there now. It won't be there very long, but but Chiron will. So you'll have to be more conscious or dig a little deeper in your finding your wounds and becoming aware of them. Your moon is in Gemini on the rising there, and so you know, Uranus is right there on your ascendant. Anything can happen at any moment. Let me just say, at any moment, girl, anything could happen at any moment. Anything. And I know that is always true all the time to some degree, but particularly for you right now, particularly in relation to your parents. So I'm just gonna say that. Um, because you got Mercury in Virgo, and that's the ruler of your Uranus right now. It's at 2 degrees. It's in an exactly square to the South Node in Virgo that's transiting down there. And I just feel like about parents and stuff. So you got some surprises headed your way, Cheryl. I'm not sure those surprises are going to end anytime soon. Okay. All right. Good job, Beth. Beth said she's letting go because I mentioned that she'd probably like to go over relationships or something. Yeah, I bet because the South Node's in your seventh house, so you're learning to let them go and get more into yourself and pay more attention to your emotions and your intuition. Listen to yourself. That'd be the best advice I could give you right now, Beth, is to listen to your intuition. It's actually quite powerful. Mm-hmm. So Shawnee's asking about Chiron. Let me talk a little bit about Chiron. Let me just tell you guys what Chiron is. Hi, Georgette. Welcome. We're at the end of our broadcast. We usually do a Monday night broadcast. We've just come back a little bit. And so what happens with Chiron is, so everybody should like really capture Chiron, pay attention to Chiron right now because it's making movements. So Chiron is in the end of Aries now. Chiron speaks to the wounded healer. This means what part of you is wounded that also brings healing forward. And the story of Chiron Chiron is a demigod, and the story is very quick. I'm not the best storyteller, nowhere near as good as Bright Hawk here, but I'll try to tell it real quick, okay? Essentially, Chiron was messing around and just hanging around, and the gods were fooling around with their arrows, and they accidentally hit him. Okay, now Chiron was a healer and he would heal people. He was human and he would go around and he would heal people and take care of people and do all kinds of great things for people. And then all of a sudden, this god was messing around and he just boom, shot Chiron by accident. And so then Chiron had this arrow hanging out the backside of him and he couldn't reach it. He couldn't heal it. He couldn't seem to get it out. He had a really hard time with it. So much so that all the people that he took care of and all the ways that he was usually taking care of himself, he prayed to the gods and asked for help. So Zeus felt sorry for him and he knew that the gods had done wrong by shooting him. So he healed him, but in the process of healing him, he also made him a demigod, which means he's a human that became a god. Okay. And so essentially, he became a god because he got wounded. And then, as being that god, he continued to heal people. Okay. But now he healed in a different way. So that's the story of Chiron. Okay. And so when you think about Chiron, you have to think about it usually has something to do with your history, but it can very much depend on what house it's in and what sign it's in. So for instance, I'll use mine because it's interesting. My Chiron is at 29 degrees Aries, and Aries rules the blood system, and it's also um it's a it's in a I think it's in conjunct or something, my Virgo sun. So it speaks to my sun, okay, which is my heart, and it can speak to it's in my house of health. So it can speak to genetic conditions because you inherited it. So trauma. And so I also had a lot of childhood trauma. And so I used to deal with a lot of that on a day-to-day basis, and it definitely messed with my, like, day-to-day mood and behavior, okay? And so the the Chiron there spoke to my day-to-day life, which is a 6th house. It's also about health, right? It's also about how you take care of yourself. Aries is also about exercise. And I keep going, "Why can't I exercise? I can't really exercise. When I try to exercise, I feel like I'm gonna faint. When I bend over, I get lightheaded." And that's this genetic condition. It came from my father, okay? And my grandmother. And so it's genetic, right? And it's in the 6th house. So you see how that but as I'm healing it, I was also listening to someone talk about Chiron and Aries because it's finishing up now. Chiron is in Aries right now, is sitting on top of my Chiron right now. Okay. And it's going to come back here, actually. So let me just say when Chiron is in Aries, it also speaks to being the first. And I am the first in my family to deal with hypertrophic cardiomyopathy in a healthy way. Like my dad, he passed in his 70s because they didn't know anything about the disease, and my grandmother didn't know anything about the disease either. Okay. So I'm the first. So Aries tends to be the first. It's the beginning of the season. So Chiron is finishing up its transit now. So if you have Chiron in Aries, you also want to look at what house is it in?
Right.
What house in your astrology chart is it in? And then that will help you determine exactly how it shows up for you. And I definitely seen it as my day-to-day life, especially around trauma and day-to-day habits. And then as I overcome that, the next thing I know, I was dealing with a genetic heart condition. Okay, so it's layers. It can be both and. Okay, and it's also the healer, right? So not only do I have the wound, yes, but because of the wound, maybe I can help others in my family with the disease.
Exactly. And so I have a little reference thing here about Chiron and what sign it's in and the perfect little summation about what it means. So Chiron in Aries, a deep-seated wound around asserting yourself, taking up space, or feeling the right to exist. Your lesson is to move from a place of feeling victimized to claiming your independence and becoming a pioneering leader. Now it's moving into Taurus in like 10 more days, I think.
Yeah.
When
Mhm.
Chiron is in Taurus, the inner wound is centering on self-worth because think Taurus, it's all about worth, your financial security, your physical safety. Your challenge, Chiron and Taurus, is to learn your inherent value rather than letting material possessions or scarcity define you. So there's
Shawnee.
always a movement. Chiron is asking us to go from victim to leader, to go from feeling oppressed to shining, what that story is for you. It's very easy to look this up, Chiron in your chart. You can, what is Chiron in, put your sign, and then add the house, and you'll get what all those flavors mean exactly for you. It's really valuable information. And
if you're having a Chiron returns, that stuff is going to come up. So Shawnee, if you have Chiron and Taurus, it's going to be coming up for you. You're going to be dealing with stuff around that wound. I'm finishing up my Chiron returns. Okay. Chiron for me is in Aries. So it's finishing up now. And hopefully this surgery will be the end of it. And when it goes retrograde, and comes back into Aries, I think later next year or something like that, it does that. When it does that, hopefully I will be just in the healing part of it. Okay. There's usually a process of pain and suffering with it, and then there's a process of healing. So it kind of tends to have two parts, and sometimes they can simultaneously happen at the same time or happen because of it. How long is the Chiron return? Like I was telling you, Shawnee, all of the transits that are happening to you that we talked about are all long transits. That means they go on for years. So the north or the south node will be in Leo for 2.5 years. And you've been used to short ones. So short ones are intense, but they resolve pretty quickly. Long ones can sometimes, they're not usually quite as intense because they just they kind of take a long time to unfold, and then they slowly unfold, and then they slowly heal, so they take time. So you're not going to be able to rush. You're going to have to learn to be patient. And I would say, so your Chiron begins in July, and then it will just give you a taste in July. Then it's going to go retrograde back and hopefully heal me up. Okay. That'll be great. And then it's going to go forward again. And it will be back and on your sign. So it's going to give you a taste this July. And then in 2027, it will be there and it will be going on for a long time. I'm going to change this from months to years. And you will feel your whole Chiron returns all the way through, oops, all the way through like 2033, Johnny. It's a long process. It will bring you into a high level of wisdom. So it's a long, long journey. It's not something you feel every day. It's more like it comes up and then you're like, okay, I guess I'm dealing with this now for a while. Okay, I'm learning my value. I'm learning how to value myself. That's what's going to happen, Shawnee. That's what's going to happen for you. And you're gonna heal, then you're gonna become aware of another wound, and then you're gonna heal that one, and then you'll become aware of another wound, and it will just go on for years. It's okay. And instead of trying to rush it, because there's no destination of healing. So that's the other thing about life and wounds and journeys, and there's no destination. You don't get there.
There's no arriving.
No, you heal pieces of you. But it literally is in pieces parts. And most of us have been suffering for, 20 years, 40 years, 50 years, however long it's been. You can't
And
expect to heal that in a few years. It's just not going
and
to
I'm
happen.
and I'm just gonna say, thank you so much for a great question, because Chiron is deep. Not everyone gets it. You could talk a lot about astrology and not go into the depth of Chiron, or you could like focus and find out, what am I here to do this time around? Chiron, again, for me, I feel like it speaks not just to your journey this time around, like it speaks to your soul level of, okay, this time we're going to try to really hone in on this and learn this, you know? And highly recommend that you do the keywords that I just mentioned, Chiron in whatever sign and
Taurus.
whatever house
Hers
it's
is
in,
in Taurus
and
at
it,
like
it'll
3
it'll
degrees.
help you. It'll help like get that revelation going. And by the way, right now, y'all, it is right now a void moon. The void started at 8:30 Eastern time a few minutes ago, and it's going to go until 4:20. Wow, it's already 9:11. We've gone a little over, but hey, we're excited to be back. I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to us. This has been
Can
really
I can I
fun to be
just
about
I just
part of the
wanted to say
conversation.
something. I wanted to just finish that. I really feel like I have to say this to you, Shawnee. There's a story about puzzles that I'll share with you when I was working in a nursing home. I always say that people with dementia and Alzheimer's and stuff, they have deep messages for us. And oftentimes, and I used to say this to people all the time, and nurses used to think I was kooky because I'd say, see what she's saying? You better listen to her. And I had a lady that used to be like, she used to like tell people to stop dating that guy and stuff like that. And she'd be like, "What? How does this lady know?" And you didn't tell her any information. And I think that that's the guides speaking through them, to be honest with you.
Mm, mm.
And there was this lady on this floor who she was a really sweet lady, and I took care of her most of the night. I had gone into her room several times, and um, she kept asking me for, shoot, now I just lost it for a second. Okay, so yeah, she kept asking me for the meaning of life. And so I would go in, take her to the bathroom, and she'd be like, "So, what's the meaning of life?" And I'd be like, "I don't know. You should tell me. You're 100 years old, like I'm like looking at her. And so I go in there like 3 times and she asked me this 3 times. And I was like, wow, I don't know. And I was like waiting with like bated breath to hear what the meaning of life was. Anyway, I get off at 7 o'clock in the morning. And at this point, I think I worked a double or something. And I came back through her area and she was actually sitting at a table putting together a puzzle. And I leaned down and said hello to her. And she told me the meaning of life is a
It's a
puzzle.
puzzle.
Tony, I'll leave you with that. So
Ah,
I
I love
agree.
it.
The meaning of life is a puzzle. So I
Yeah.
think you're right on point there. Sounds like your intuition is 100%. So I'll leave all of you with that and hope that you catch us next Monday. Next Monday night, we'll be here at the same time. I'm hoping that it's okay, that Bright Hawk's okay with this little bit later time. It feels like it should be in the summertime. I thought you might like that story, Shawnee. It's the meaning
So
of life.
perfect for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
So, all right. So take care of yourselves during this week and enjoy this Jupiter Venus conjunct tomorrow. Um I hope it brings a lot of blessings for you. I hope it brings together some good things for you in your life. The horoscopes should be released hopefully in the next day or two. The Eddie
Have a
Gould
great
that
week.
all right.
Thanks for listening to Rainbow Soulstrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars. Have a great week, everybody. Many thanks and much love.